Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of Innocent Villains. And I don't know about you, Shai, but I was struggling to think about what were we going to talk about today? And then the congressional committee has a hearing about Pam Bondi covering up the Epstein files, and she f***ed it up.
Dude,
holy shit!
Bad.
Holy shit! What did you think when you first saw those videos? Because there were a lot.
I mean, I think if anybody watches South Park and saw the way that they portray her, it's exactly what we're getting. I mean, the brown nosing of Donald Trump, the continuation of the sucking off Donald Trump, dude. It's like she told Thomas Massey today that he has Trump derangement syndrome, and Pam, I think it's time to look into the fucking mirror because oh my god, dude, it's bad. It's bad.
Are you ready? Because I have a couple clips lined up that we were talking about. So here's the first one. And so Pam Bondi is asked about why she kept the Epstein files under wraps, why she ostensibly covered for pedophiles, and she started talking about the stock market, which had nothing to do with it at all. It was
ridiculous.
A classic diversion. I'm going to play it for you now. It's truly remarkable that this woman has not been fired.
The Dow is over $50,000. I don't know why you're laughing. You're a great stock trader, as I hear, Raskin. The Dow is over 50,000 right now. The S&P at almost 7,000. And the NASDAQ smashing records. Americans' 401ks and retirement savings are booming. That's what we should be talking about. We should be talking about making Americans safe.
What do you think about that? Because
Dude,
that was the classic diversion.
100%.
That's what we should be talking
100%.
about.
Like you said,
that's what we should be talking about.
Diversion. I mean, we hear yesterday that they're moving on from the Epstein files. Moving on. After we, American people, finally got our hands on these fucking files that we've been looking for a decade. And we're moving on. We're just going to sweep it under the rug, protect the pedophiles. Now you're sitting in front of Congress in trying to explain yourself, and the best you could do is say, well, look at the stock market. Look at, average Americans. Pam, last time I checked, we're all bitching about the fucking market, not the stock market. We're all bitching about the price of food, the price of housing, the price of gas. What has this administration done to actually benefit us? You want to sit there and talk about the stock market, and then you're going to lash out and talk about how other members of Congress are great stock traders. And it's like, Pam, if you're going to die on this hill of protecting pedophiles, you need to find a better way to do it. And honestly, this whole administration has kind of been a fluke. I mean, we watched Cash in the same situation get torched by Congress. I mean, this admin has no idea how to speak to Congress. They also have no, I don't want to say courtesy because that's not the right word, but professionalism. They lash out, they're harsh, and we even see it with all the MAGA humpers, all the Trump dick riders still, all protecting,
cat turd.
Right, cat turd, the cat turds of the world. They're all protecting Pam Bondi and saying, oh, look at her, lash out and call, oh, based. She said that, Thomas Massey has TDS, and it's like, the last time I checked, I haven't seen anything in the past 6 months that Thomas Massey's done that has raised any eyebrows to me.
Right. And fun fact here, we have that clip that you just referenced. We have that clip where Thomas Massey calls out Pam Bondi and she says, oh, you have Trump derangement syndrome. It's like, that would have worked great 7 years ago. It's like, we're in 2026 and the Trump administration campaigned on disclosure.
Right.
And being the most transparent presidential administration in history. So we're going to play this clip right now.
That's what she also just said. I don't know if, was it in that clip that we just played?
Let's find out with this next one. And then
no, the one that we just played. Did she say something about he's the most transparent president?
Not in that clip. No, I cut it off.
Okay.
But we'll play this clip about her calling out Thomas Massey for no reason. He's one of the only patriotic Republicans right now. Anyway, we'll play it for you.
Go ahead.
Respond, and then the gentleman can move to his next question.
Within 40 minutes, you asked me a question. Within 40 minutes, Wexner's name was added back.
Within 40 minutes of me catching you red-handed.
There was one redaction out
Where
of
he's
over
listed as a
4,700,
co-conspirator.
and we invited you in. This
Show
guy has Trump derangement syndrome. He needs to get. You're a failed politician.
Failed politician.
Failed politician. So how about
Oh
that?
my
What do you
God.
think about that? Because I think Thomas Masse's approval rating is one of the highest as
Through the roof.
in terms of like the Republican representatives and
Through the
senators.
roof. I mean, obviously, him and Marjorie Taylor Greene started this whole Epstein Transparency Act and all this, trying to allow us to be able to actually get to the bottom of it. Because if it wasn't for Thomas, and I'll put MGT out there too, as much as I don't like, what she's doing or how she stepped down, God bless the both of them for even having the balls to, try to get this out to the public. Try to get to the bottom of this, because if it was for the rest of the MAGA humping Republicans and the president himself, we would not be getting to the bottom of these Epstein files.
And it's like, here's the thing. Nobody would care. Well, people would care. But even though the Democrats are using this as a political football, which you could tell, it's very obvious. Scheid, who was the administration that campaigned on disclosure of the Epstein files? It wasn't the Harris-Waltz campaign. It was
I
the
believe it was
Biden-Harris
Donald Trump.
administration. Right. He was the exact one. And he knew about this too.
Right.
For years, he was making QAnon like symbols and kind of inklings, like, ooh, maybe he knew. Ooh,
Right.
Q, was it like Q just watch or something like that is what he said?
Yeah.
Like, he was making these references and these little Easter eggs to the point where, oh no, like, I'm the one, I'm going to fight the pedophiles secretly in Washington. Like, I'm secretly, and all these retards, they believed it, including myself for a little bit. But
We both
that's
did.
besides the point.
We both did.
Besides the point, okay?
We both campaigned for him last year like idiots.
Right,
But
right. We've seen Jesus now. We're
Right,
good.
right.
We understand. But, okay, I can't fault the Democrats for doing what, because this is like the easiest layup. They've done really nothing, and by no fault of their own, they're going to win the midterms. I mean, it's
Right.
not their fault.
Well, and like you just said, I mean, this is like kind of an easy layup win, a win that we really haven't seen them have in a long time, So they're always campaigning on bullshit that we can, eat right through and read right through. But this is one that they actually have everybody's attention towards,
Right.
And obviously the Trump administration has it all wrong, dude. They have it all fucking wrong.
Yeah.
They are going about this the wrong way. They're protecting the wrong people. They're saying the wrong things. And obviously, if you're a Democrat, what are you going to do? You're going to take this and run with it. You're going to take this and run to the midterms. Hell, you're going to take this and run it to 2028. I would never let this go. I would never
can't.
let this go.
You can't. And the sad thing is, Nick was talking about this last night, and I think John Ossoff, he is a senator. I believe he's a senator from Georgia. Might be a representative. Doesn't matter. He coined this whole administration the Epstein class, which
I did see
is
that.
exactly what this is.
Right.
These people, at the end of the day, all these people, because they campaigned on transparency and exposing all of this stuff, it doesn't matter. Like, you see Pam Bondi in this hearing, she's talking about, Merrick Garland, who was the attorney general during the Biden administration. Right, he was. And they could have released it, and maybe they were covering up too. But you were the ones that campaigned on releasing all of this stuff. At the end of the day, they're not in office anymore. They don't have the power. It is you.
Right.
And so what I'm going to play is like a scathing repudiation of the Trump administration, kind of encapsulates that whole hearing. It was Representative Jayapal, Democratic representative, I forget what state, but she asked the Epstein survivors at the DOJ oversight hearing to raise their hand if Trump's DOJ has not met with them. And every single one raised their hand. So I'm going to play this for you. This is shocking and like kind of the nail of the coffin.
To the survivors in the room, if you are willing, please stand. And if you are willing, please raise your hands if you have still not been able to meet with this Department of Justice.
It gets
Please note
worse.
for the record that every single survivor has raised their hand. Attorney General Bondi, you apologized to the survivors in your opening statement for what they went through at the hands of Jeffrey Epstein.
This is what really pissed me
Will
off.
you turn to them now and apologize for what your Department of Justice has put them through with the absolutely unacceptable release of the Epstein files and their information.
She won't do it.
Congresswoman, you sat before Merrick Garland sat in this chair twice.
Attorney General Bondi,
No, can I finish my answer?
No, I'm going to
She's
reclaim my
deflecting.
time because I asked you a
Attorney General,
specific question
Attorney General
that
can
I would
respond to your
like
question.
you to answer, which is, will you turn to the survivors? This is not about anybody that came before you. It is about you taking responsibility for your Department of Justice and the harm that it has done to the survivors who are standing right behind you and are waiting for you to turn to them and apologize for what your Department of Justice has done.
Members get to ask the questions. The witness get to...
Okay, so long story short, she didn't fucking do it. Wow.
Not a damn thing.
Wow. This is like, oh my gosh, what was it? Okay. Remember the Harvard anti-Semitism case where the president of Harvard, Claudine Gay, refused to apologize for the anti-Semit. I mean, this is back before they used it as a political football.
Right.
Remember that she refused to condemn anti-Semitism and she like looked real smug. Like,
right.
This is the right's version of that. That's immediately what I thought of when I saw this.
Yeah, 100%.
Bro, why would you not turn around and at least apologize? Like,
right.
That makes you look like a cunt. Nobody's
Very
going to
bad.
feel bad for you.
Very
Nobody. Bad. And in fact, the one uniting principle right now, and then I'm going to let you talk.
You're
sorry.
good.
But the one uniting principle right now in this country, because we don't have a lot, is opposition to pedophilia. Mm-hmm. There's not much on the right and the left now that we really unites us. Like even our American values, I mean, it's right now it's kind of like, it's wishy-washy. But the one thing that unites us is we are opposed to pedophilia. We're opposed to sexual acts on children.
Yeah.
And this woman just refused to condemn and refused to apologize. She could not even turn around and face the victims herself.
Isn't it sickening? Isn't it
I can't
sickening?
believe it. I cannot believe it.
I can't help but just ask myself why. Because at this point, did you see the ad for the human trafficking when she was, yeah.
Yes.
So I just can't help but ask myself why and who's pulling the strings behind this admin that's making her do this. Because at the end of the day, all this is really doing is reflecting poorly on her. Fuck Trump, fuck Kash Patel, fuck JD Vance, all these people in his cabinet, all these people in this administration. Quite frankly, you're in the public eye right now. You're the one answering the questions. You're the one in the room with these Epstein victims. And you can't even do the decency to turn around and apologize. You're immediately going to deflect. You can't even turn around and acknowledge them.
Yeah.
Dude,
I know.
And it just makes you wonder, again, why? What do they have against you? How much money are they giving you? What is the reason that you're allowing yourself to drag your name through the mud like this? For someone else? For Donald Trump? For someone who would replace you in a heartbeat? Someone who's probably going to have to replace you at this point because you look so bad that this admin can't continue for another 3 years with you there. You're looked at as a joke.
I mean, like, dude, she is supposed to be the top cop. That's the first problem, by the way.
Right.
Saying she is supposed to be the top cop. I'm sorry. Actually, I'm not sorry. I do not give a fuck. A woman should not be in that position. I've told multiple people this week, a woman should not be the Attorney General of the United States. Stop it. Stop. Would Matt Gaetz have been better? I don't know. Probably by default, yes. But there's a lot of shady shit with him. Look at me. I'm turning red. I'm so passionate. But, like, she should not be there, period. Actually, you know what? Maybe I would want a Kamala Harris there. Because at least she has no soul. At least she doesn't show human emotion. You know, at least she's like an excuse. She's like a
We've come to accept the rambling and the bambling and her not making any sense.
Right. At least Kamala Harris, ultimately, she's like cold. I would have taken Hillary Clinton for Attorney General. Fuck. Hillary Clinton, she's probably killed like, what, 70 people now? What's the body count on? It's a lot. But the point is, at least Hillary would go after these people or participate. I don't know, but at least she would be cold about it. Pam Bondi's just a dumb bitch.
Right. I mean, the fact that it's being thrown into your face that not a single one of these victims have talked to the DOJ, point blank, period, the end, you should be thrown in prison. Do you not agree? Like, that off rip, you hear that information that these Epstein victims have never once talked to the DOJ. What are you supposed to take from that?
It's radicalizing, man.
Because then what kind of case are they building? Because we just got all these files with all these redacted names, which don't even get me started on the redactions. Because, dude, ridiculous. I understand protecting victims, but at this point, we're protecting pedophiles. The emails that discuss, whoever sent an email to Jeffrey Epstein saying your littlest one was naughty, or whatever that email said exactly. Redacting that name, at least to get an answer. So you have these files, you have these photos, you have these videos, you have these emails. Would you not show these to the victims? Would you not show these names to the victims? Would you not have conversations with these victims? That's why the DOJ, the FBI, Pam Bondi, Kash Patel, fucking Donald Trump, J.D. Vance by association, they all need to be imprisoned. They all need to never be allowed to touch a single issue when it comes to this government, to these people, to America. I mean, dude, it's disgusting. Yeah, they're covering up for pedophiles, and frankly, let me finish. Last point.
No, you're good.
With this whole point of covering up for pedophiles, that just means, like, we've said it. How many times have we said it right now? Covering up for pedophiles.
Yeah.
Every video you see online is about Trump covering up for pedophiles. Eventually, hearing the word pedophile, hearing the words covering up for pedophiles, they're all going to become desensitized. And it's almost like it makes you wonder, is that what this admin's looking for? Is it just going to be so drawn out and so overdone that in 2 more years, we're all going to forget that we covered up for pedophiles, and you'll hear that and you'll have some sort of excuse for it by then because everybody's desensitized to the statement covering up for pedophiles? Covering up for pedophiles is damn near just as bad as the act that those people were doing.
I agree. You can't be complicit in it. And it's interesting that you said they are covering up for pedophiles, because somebody else recently went viral for saying the White House is covering up for pedophiles, and that's Sean Ryan. And I actually have the clip right here, so we're going to play it for everybody, and then we're going to react to it.
Is this when he was
They
sitting
are
with
legitimately
yes.
Okay.
Yes.
proactively protecting pedophiles.
They are protecting pedophiles at this point.
By redacting the abusers' names. The White House, listen up, everybody, the fucking White House is protecting pedophiles. You hear that? They're fucking protecting pedophiles. That's what the fuck they're doing.
And Sean Ryan was a guy who, similar to us, was endorsing Trump in the 2024 election.
Of course he was. And
so
that's why
sitting,
I don't take that. I should say I take that with a grain of salt when it comes to everybody. I mean, quite frankly, because we were really stuck with the only 2 options, and unless you were going to, vote for John Pork or fucking whoever else that didn't even have a chance. If you were taking, if you were taking Donald Trump over Kamala Harris, in some regard, it just seemed like you had some sort of common sense. Like when you really break it down and you go through the whole campaign that the left had, you're voting for Donald Trump. Yeah, I mean, as someone who voted for Donald Trump, the both of us, I think we could sit here and say, like, I don't judge you. I don't judge you in a poor way for voting for Donald Trump. Now, on the same coin, I don't really criticize anybody who voted for Kamala, because at this point, the way we're sitting, unless you have a septum ring and blue hair and I think you're fucking crazy, like, I congratulations. You fucking did it. Like, you found the better candidate. Or at least the one that was probably going to come under the, like, not be this disgraceful and disgusting. I mean, that's the big part of this, is just like Sean Ryan said, and you could hear the anger in his voice. You're protecting pedophiles. Fucking protecting pedophiles, man.
Yeah.
Like, the thought of that coming from government is insane. Coming from American, like, America's sitting U.S. president, Department of Justice, like, dude, it's baffling. It's baffling that this is happening in real time, and then you put some bimbo retard like fucking Pam Bondi to sit in front of Congress and try to make it about the fucking stock market. Blow my fucking dick. What are you talking about?
She might.
I don't know, man. I'm not into pedophiles. I think she's really only she's into guys that are into little kids. Pretty sure Donald Trump was on that fucking island doing some shady shit.
Even if he wasn't, he was still complicit
Allegedly.
in it. We'll talk about him in a second, but I want to bring one more thing up about Pam Bondi. Did you know she's been divorced twice?
It checks out.
Maybe somebody, I mean, call me crazy, but maybe somebody that doesn't have a good sense of judgment maybe shouldn't be the Attorney General of the United States, most powerful country. I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe, right?
We need
Is
to
that
make
crazy?
should we make some sort of law about being unfaithful?
I think we had those on the books a while back.
I mean, like, to hold high power in this government.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
there has to be some sort of a standard. I agree with you. There like some character standard, some moral standard, like a basic character standard that we can all like abide by. That's not like strictly religious, but
I don't know, man. My first one would have been like, "Hey, what are your opinion on pedophiles?" And if you would have told me that Pam Bondi would be protecting them a year from when we fucking voted for Trump, I would have told you, "Cool. I'm going to go with that fucking homo Waltz and Kamala Harris because what the fuck are we doing right now?"
Pam Bondi wasn't announced until after Trump
Well, I guess
won.
you're right. Well, I just mean in general.
Yeah, I know. But okay, let's think back about Trump real quick before we move on to our next topic.
Yeah.
So Trump was never the most moral person. The guy ran fucking casinos that made a lot of people lose all their money, all their savings, crippled a lot of people.
Right.
That's one thing. The second thing, he was a builder, but he never paid his employees. We didn't go bankrupt like 9 times, so that's another thing. And finally, the guy owned beauty pageants where young women took off their clothes. He owned the pageant. This guy was never moral in the beginning. How did everybody, including myself, how do we all fall for the fact that, this guy, moral?
I don't know. I don't think you and I were ever on the train of Donald Trump was moral.
Well, a lot of people were.
Yeah, because a lot of people are retarded.
Donald Trump. Remember that meme of all the people with their hands on his shoulders?
Oh, yeah.
And he...
Yeah, I do. No,
but come on, man.
I just mean, like, when we're sitting in a situation where, like, we just came off of one of the worst sitting presidents in U.S. history. The border was wide open. We had a terrible fucking market. We had a terrible economy. Again, with all the illegal immigrants here, you had Kamala Harris saying she wasn't going to change anything. And you had Donald Trump saying, "Hey, we're changing everything." I think that's what caught a lot of people's eyes. I don't think anybody was, saying that he was moral. I just think we were also saying, hey, he's not necessarily implicated in these Epstein files. There's videos, there's whatever, but we're just kind of taking his word for it that he thought Epstein was a creep and that he kicked him out of his fucking house when he was being a creep and whatever else. And it's fucking tough. It is tough to be an American right now, to make decisions, because how do you, I don't know. How are you not disgusted by yourself as a Trump voter? You and I sitting here right now.
I'm not disgusted by myself, though, because we understand now that we were duped. Candidate Trump, we know now candidate Trump is different from President Trump. I mean, we've had 3 election cycles to see candidate Trump, and he was different in 2020 than 2016, 2024. But he was even a little bit different in 2024 than 2016. He was more isolationist in 2016, more willing to criticize the powers that be. We just fell for it. That's all it was. You can't blame yourself.
Right.
Everybody else did too. So he had the majority.
You're not wrong, man. It's just, I don't know. It's really, really a tough spot to put any decision-making Americans, and I mean, who to support. Yeah. And how does this not put a bad taste in your mouth for all Republicans except for Thomas Massey at this point?
Right. I mean, this is, and Rand Paul. I know Rand Paul has been
Well,
critical
yes,
as
Rand
well.
Paul.
But also, too, man, this is going to be worse than Watergate. Like, here's another thing I will
This
say.
is
and then
10
we can move
times
on.
worse than Watergate. There were no children being fucked in Watergate.
Right. This is crazy, but I'm gonna say it. We think of January 6th, the people on the right as like, oh, this harmless thing, but the people on the left think it's
You
like
mean a national
this legit
holiday?
yeah, national holiday. But the people on the left think it's like this terrible thing. Well, again, what did we mention before? On the right and the left, one of the things we both hold true is that we hate pedophilia, and you take advantage of children in a sexual way is terribly wrong. And what happens when people
unless you're mutilating
organize,
their privates, because the left seems to enjoy that
right?
part.
Well, but they've moved on from that. That's
they really
the thing.
have. They've smartened up. Smartened up.
But what I'm trying to say is what happens when those two groups organize together and they have their own January 6th. And they're not playing around this time, because this time they're going to kill the pedophiles. And they're going to kill the people that have covered up for the pedophiles. And then God knows what happens. Maybe that's what we need. I hate to say, I don't want to advocate for violence.
Careful,
I'm not advocating for violence. I'm not advocating for. I disavow. But what if the right and the left came together in this country to organize against pedophilia and pedophiles in the government, and against the willingness to cover up for all of those forces?
Yeah.
And they had their own January 6th.
I want to say that I am in agreement with you. Now, the only reason that I'm so hesitant behind that is what we see from the regular political talking heads. I just like, put yourself in my brain for a minute. We just watched Harry Sisson debate Michael Knowles. Do you see either of those two men inside the Capitol? Creating
I'm not
their own
talking about them.
I'm not talking about them either. I know what you're talking about.
Everyday people.
Okay. Maybe you're right. I think it's just so hard when you're looking at it that way. I just say, okay, well, how many of us are there? Because I'm thinking low scale, and you just got to think of the millions of people that are here, So, I mean, it's very well possible. It's very much so possible.
Shide, if you have to understand, like, this is the biggest thing ever. To find out that most of the people in our government are complicit with pedophiles.
Right.
Everybody in the administration is complicit with the pedophiles running the government. They're covering up. They're running cover for the Reid Hoffmans, the Les Wexners, the Bill Clintons.
Right.
And what do you think is going to happen when it becomes apparent to people that, hey, we are being told what to do by people that molest children for fun, but if you speed over 5 miles per hour, you are going to get a ticket and a fine. And if you fight that, maybe they'll even arrest you.
No, I agree with you. I agree with you wholeheartedly, because then you also have, and that's the point where I guess myself, but like that's where us Americans need to be. God bless Nancy Guthrie. I pray to God that they find her and she is okay. But the amount of media coverage that she is getting currently that is distracting and taking over for what we should be talking about, what is distracting, I would say 40 to 50% of Gen X is this story, and no one's up in arms about Jeffrey Epstein. No one's up in arms about these files. Why is Fox News? I tweeted it last night. I saw it, dude, and I was floored. Luke, we have millions of files coming out about Jeffrey Epstein. The same files with the same names that Kash Patel said didn't exist, that he said Epstein killed himself. He said there was no fucking way that, there was anybody else. There was nobody trafficking to anybody. It was all Jeffrey Epstein. This is Kash Patel. Meanwhile, we get all these names, or we get all these files with all these redacted names, all these creepy fucking emails that no one seems to be looking into. Just 6 people, 6 accomplices. Is that what they said? One of which being Ghislaine Maxwell, the other one being Les Wexner.
Yeah.
And so we have those names, correct? But who's being redacted, Cash? You're calling into Sean Hannity on Fox News to talk about Nancy fucking Guthrie? How about you talk about Sean Hannity's #1 pick for president, Donald Trump? His good friend Jeffrey Epstein, all these fucking files coming out. How about you, instead of calling into Hannity, you give Pam Bondi a phone call and tell her, hey, here's what to expect from Congress, because about 6 months ago, I got bent over by Congress because I looked like a fucking jackass, and you're about to get the same fucking treatment.
And I think that they just thought it was going to go away. But
right, they're moving on. They're moving on, Luke. The
administration's
moving on.
This is a boiling point now. Because ever since Trump got elected, it was clear that the people were pissed off by the class, the ruling class.
Right.
And we thought Trump was going to fix it in 2016. He turned his back on the people. 2020, you could argue, right, he got the election stolen from him. If you interpret the way of the Hunter Biden laptop story was suppressed, then you could argue, yes, it could have been stolen based on the fact that people would have made a better decision, or they may have made another decision if they knew about that story, right? They would have voted him in 2020. That was the argument. That's the argument that I kind of believe. Okay, so the right is pissed off that now Trump was cheated out of the election. They hate the government more. The left gets their guy. Whatever. But normal people, the far right's happy. But the far right wasn't even happy, because that's when October 7th happened.
Mm-hmm.
And we are complicit now in funding the genocide. And now the whole left is getting angry, and the right's getting angry too. And all this time, the normal people, all the way from 2016 to like October 7th, past October 7th, right before Trump gets elected, they're feeling it now. Economically, cost of living is going up. People are feeling like a stranger in their own country. The immigration issue is getting bad. Okay, Trump runs. He campaigns on that. He says, hey, I'm going to fix it. And then again, he turns his back on everybody that voted for him, and the people that maybe didn't vote for him, but, they were optimistic.
Right.
And then you find this shit out. And we had already known about this, and he campaigned about this. Again, he campaigned on exposing all of the Epstein stuff. There's allegations for the past 10 years, a little bit less than 10 years, that there are pedophiles in our government, and they make our laws. They rule over us, and they tell us what to do. People were very unhappy. Even before Trump got elected in 2016, circa like 2012, beginning of Obama's second term, like, people weren't happy. I remember driving through places like in West Virginia. I remember driving to Florida. We used to go on road trips, right? And we stop at a rest stop, and this woman at the gas station was talking about Obama to us. Oh, that man in Washington, I hate him. So there were already people pissed off then with the ruling class then. Man, oh man, people are just looking for an excuse. They are looking for an excuse to just
go.
And it is part of our DNA. It is part of our DNA, right? Especially the heritage Americans that came here and they fought the British Empire, their oppressors, they won independence. Like, it is in our bones. And then for the people that came after, the Italians, the Irish Catholics, the Germans, the Polish, the Slovaks, you just go on and on and on. The Hispanics, what are they all doing? They're coming here for a better life. They were willing to risk everything, bro. Some of their family members died on the boats. They got diseases. They left what was comfortable, what was cushy, for a land that they had never seen with their own eyes before. Wild motherfuckers. We come from them.
Yeah.
We come from them. Do you think we're just going to get fucked and let it happen? We're not the Europeans. We're not these pussies. You know what I mean? Like, we are actually good. We come, our heritage, Americans, we have this shit in our bones. We have balls of fucking steel, and we are not to be fucked with by any means necessary. That's my rant.
I can't wait for you to fucking run, dude. God, that just made me want to run through a wall. Americans, we're back, baby. We're back, baby. Fuck everybody in D.C. They're all a bunch of kid fuckers. Fuck them all.
Put Trump's nuts on the wall. All right, I disavow. It's a joke. I disavow. Whew. That was powerful. That was powerful.
Dude, that just made me want to fucking... You want to go to DC?
Oh, they already hear it. They already know we're coming. It's too late. It's too late.
Our car would get blown up. They'd take over the computer chips in our fucking trucks, and we would roll over. We wouldn't even make it out of the state.
I know.
But, man,
I hope
dude.
that was entertaining for everybody. But that's how we all feel. It makes me unhappy that I have to come to this next topic and stop talking about this. But we do have to get to other stuff. We have a show.
There's news.
Erica Kirk. Not a fan. Not a fan, right? Well,
I thought it was Shawn Michaels from WWE. Is she going by Erica Kirk now?
Erica Kirk. I guess that's what she's going by. Anyway, Erica Kirk has been going viral recently because Charlie Kirk, when he used to do his podcast, and we're going to put the image up for you soon, but when Charlie Kirk used to do his podcast, in the background he had a photo of him and Erica on their wedding day. Very nice. She's in her dress. He's in his tux. It looks great. Well, Erica obviously took over for Charlie's show after he was brutally assassinated. And she takes down the photo of them on their wedding day. So we're going to put it up for you here. Here we go. So, Shad, you're looking at that. What do you think about this? Because obviously you have the bottom and the top. What the hell? This is just fueling the conspiracy theories, right? Obviously, Erica Kirk, God bless her. In the beginning, I was like, oh, this grieving widow. Remember when she did the announcement on Fox News? And very tragic, right? She's in tears. And then I started to feel a little bit odd when they had that memorial, the funeral in Arizona, in Tucson, at the Cardinal Stadium, I believe it is. And, not Tucson, but, wherever the Cardinal Stadium is. And fireworks. She comes out the fireworks. It's a big pageant. It's like, it's this big concert, and she's almost like enjoying it. And then she takes over as Turning Point CEO after not being in a leadership position at all.
Yeah.
And then you do the backstory, and her father was very much aligned with Trump. She was modeling in the Trump beauty pageants. She said she wasn't dating anybody 5 years prior to Charlie, but that wasn't true.
Big lie. Big
bunch
lie.
of stuff going on.
Listen,
then there's the thing with JD Vance is being pregnant with this kid. The rumors about that. She's getting real cozy, which again, really weird. And then finally, she's not with her kids. You would think a widow,
right?
Two children that don't have a father anymore. You think you would want to be with them as much as possible to overcompensate for the father, but you see her everywhere, and the kids, God knows where they are. Are they being raised by the grandparents, the nanny? What the fuck?
Right. And I think the most important part to this whole story is the fact that even you and I, somebody who in the later stages of his life, and later I just mean, obviously his life was cut short, but, basically 6 months to a year before he was assassinated, we started not liking what he was saying. He was getting that Trump humper vibe, the same conservative talking points, all those things.
We were never big fans to begin with.
No, but I think, basically, anyways, long story short, he gets assassinated. The right is in shambles now. That's their guy. That is the right's MLK. And you could say what you will. That was 100% Republicans, Martin Luther. 100%. So he gets assassinated. Now, the lady who was supposedly playing the stay-at-home mom role, in this sweetheart of a lady who nobody really ever questioned while Charlie was still alive, now she's taking over for Turning Point. Now she's coming out to the fireworks. Now she's running shows and doing all these things. And quite frankly, if she would have just stayed in the shadows for a little bit, I don't think Charlie's legacy would have been lost. I don't think the Charlie Kirk show would have been lost. I think you grieve, you figure your own stuff out. Let the case settle. Let's figure something out. Let Candace Owens run in circles. Let Ian Carroll run in circles. Let them get everything out like they're fucking dogs. Let them get their energy out. And then you come back. But instead, she doesn't stay out of the limelight. She does interview after interview. She does show after show. Their media team sends out text messages to not let Charlie's memory die, not even 2 weeks after he was assassinated. Maybe not even a week. Maybe not even 3 days. I don't remember when the texts were put out. I think right now we're just kind of exhausted with the point of you came out, Charlie painted you in this light, and now I 100% agree that this was some sort of staged marriage. Am I upset about it? No. I think it was some sort of an arranged marriage. We saw her on reality TV shows. You know, we saw her dating some prominent people. She was she was obviously in Trump's pageants and stuff like that. There were some now scandalous things about her that are coming out that probably wouldn't have came out if she would have just, laid low for a little bit. But my biggest problem with her now is seeing this. Unless you took that picture and hung it at home or something like that, I don't know. But wouldn't you want to keep Charlie's office exactly the way Charlie had it? Because it almost looks like, if you look at that picture, things are moved. I don't know. Let's just say the roles were reversed and I'm Erica Kirk and my husband got shot. I wouldn't touch a thing in that office. I would sit at that desk. I would do a show if that's what you want to do. But everything behind me is exactly the way Charlie had it, the way Charlie wanted it. And I wouldn't touch a thing. Now, if you're going to, I would maybe revamp it, but I wouldn't just take down the wedding picture. After all these conspiracies are coming out about how I've seen things about her texting underage people. I've seen things about her tattoos that she has that she was getting away with in working in Washington. I've seen all her ex-boyfriends and the shady stuff behind the TV shows and the pageants.
She's in a music video.
And that she was written out of the will because she was cheating on Charlie. All these conspiracies. Have you seen that one?
No.
Oh, dude. Yeah, my Twitter's a lot different than yours.
Wow.
But I mean, they're all conspiracies, and they're just people saying things. But at the end of the day, if I see it, others see it, which means your media team should see it, which means maybe they should give you some hints on like, hey, don't do this. This is going to make things look shadier. You already have Candace Owens sniffing your ass, trying to figure out who you are and what's going on with Charlie's death. Which, that's a whole nother fucking can of worms. But why remove the only picture of you and Charlie in the room?
It just fuels the rumors that like she's happy that he's dead. Like, I don't understand why you would do that. Like, we're normal people, okay? We have normal lives. We don't have cameras pointed at us 24/7. But like, come on, man. I have family members where the husband tragically passed away, right? And the wife still cannot get over it, and rightfully so. It's your husband. This happened 3 years ago, 4 years ago, and God bless her, she cannot get over it. And I don't fault her at all. This is tragic to lose your spouse. Erica Kirk, how many? I can count on one hand how many tears I've seen from her. And again, I get maybe you want to put on a strong face for the public, but maybe don't be in public all the time. When you are a grieving widow, when you are a parent of two kids under the age of 4 years old. I mean, this is not conducive to a healthy lifestyle for the kids. So yeah, I don't understand. Does she have a team like you're saying? You bring up a good point. You should have a team who is saying, hey, maybe don't take the picture down.
Maybe don't do this interview. Maybe don't say these things.
Right.
Maybe don't be crying and then put on this stern face when in that interview when being asked about Candace Owens and she says, stop.
Yeah. You know what it is, bro? You know what it is? It is feminism. It is female girl bossing just on the left. And it's the female empowerment, and it's the, again, girl boss CEO that you always see. Meanwhile, you can't name 5 CEOs that got there organically. You can't.
Well, and it almost makes you laugh too when you're coming into a situation where everything happened like this, and then now you're just, instead of a Jack Posobiec or somebody like close to Charlie, but also a guy, but also has been in the political game taking over this, it's Charlie's wife. And she's now putting on the face of the girl boss. And like you said, the whole feminism, girl boss, maybe the tears, whatever. But also then it just strums up all the conspiracies of, are you happy? Are you now in a position that you weren't able to because you were playing trad wife? And now that Charlie's gone, you're able to be a girl boss, the girl boss that maybe you've always wanted to be, or
I don't get
in a
it.
position that you've wanted to be, because I highly doubt that this obvious arranged marriage between the two of you, you just wanted him for the money or the trad lifestyle. Seemed like you want some sort of power out of this.
Shide, she was saying, we've got so many donations. We've brought in so much money. It's like,
Right.
That's what you care about, man?
In like the memorial, you're setting up voter registration booths. Erica. No.
Time out. That's probably what he probably would have wanted that.
Luke.
You don't think he would have wanted that?
Luke. Who the fuck is going to a Charlie Kirk memorial who has not been registered to vote?
Okay, that's a good point.
Unless you were 17 years old in last year and now you're, you just turned 18, for the handful of people that may have maybe shown up like that. Every single person there, unless you were going undercover as a liberal, voted for Trump. I'm assuming.
That was his thing. That was his thing, to be able to register people to vote.
I know. And maybe that's what it is. But it just looks tasteless. It looks tasteless. It looks tasteless to walk out in all white. It looks tasteless
definitely.
to shoot off the fireworks. I understand that was Charlie's thing. Wait for the RNC.
Okay. Yeah, I could see what you're coming from. Definitely.
Yeah.
I just thought that Andrew Colvett, and again, I'm not that guy that's like a huge Turning Point fan, but I would have thought that Andrew Colvett was much better to take on the role of the CEO of Turning Point, the leadership role of Turning Point. So just crazy, man. I hope to see less of Erica Kirk going forward. I know it's not going to happen, but I'm just done. I can't.
Hear
I'm not good. I'm not there.
I hear you. I mean, quite frankly, it's also the side of like, again, we haven't really heard from you in your political takes. Like, your husband was out campaigning every week for Donald Trump, which that's a whole nother can of worms, that it's his memorial and Trump takes that over to talk about how great they're going to make the economy and
how about he hates his enemies and Charlie loved his enemies, but Trump just can't get to loving his enemies.
Right. So I don't know, like, for her to take over this and to do shows, and it's like, and I mean this in the most respectful way possible, who's listening to that for your opinion?
I can't tell you anybody that I know that's just so eager to listen to Erica Kirk.
That's like, and obviously, to be as sexist as possible as I can be,
a woman shouldn't be in that position. I'm sorry.
Not only it just seems like, I don't know, when you look at that marriage and on the outside, like from the outside when Charlie was still living, do you not think that we kind of like, they almost made it seem like Charlie's saying this and he explains everything to Erica, and then Erica takes those talking points and she's like, yep, I agree. Like, Charlie was the guy, the man of the house, the man of the relationship, said, hey, this is what's going on politically, explains it, breaks it down, and Erica Kirk can take that, and she speaks at the RNC, reiterates the same talking points that Charlie Kirk does, just in the female version. And that's got to be what this is. We have enough female Republicans. We don't need a grieving widow. Go be a mother.
They all suck. We have too many female Republicans. I think zero would be pretty good with me. They all suck. They're not good. Pam Bondi is the perfect example.
We need female Republicans. We don't need female Republican, what's the word, influencers.
I'm going to disagree with you. I mean, female, you're talking about voters?
Well, yeah, of course.
I don't really care about the vote, but like female politicians, like Republican
we would need it to win. Yeah. You don't want to give the benefit to the women. I understand where you're coming from, but we do need them.
I heard Rob Schneider. Can I pull this up, actually? Because this is much more important than what I had. I heard Rob Schneider a couple days ago. He was on Gutfeld, okay?
Okay.
And he is the first person I've heard in the mainstream to talk about repealing the 19th Amendment, the woman's right to vote. This is huge. I'm going to play this for you. This is not what I anticipated to play on this podcast, but
go ahead.
This is incredible. I can't believe that somebody is actually mainstreaming this like idea and this talking point that we've been hearing for a while.
Do you think he'll be in Grown Ups 3 or 4, whatever they're on now?
Yeah, absolutely. But here's
you
Rob
still
Schneider.
Think Rob Schneider and Adam Sandler get along?
They do. He was in Happy Gilmore too.
Was he?
Yeah, he was the You Can Do It guy. Anyway, regardless, right? This is Rob Schneider campaigning and asking for the 19th Amendment to be repealed.
Women obviously have a higher capacity for empathy than men. But that empathy can be manipulated into giving empathy for people who don't deserve it. And that's a problem. And they can be manipulated into doing things that are not in their best interest. And that's why, Greg, I want our audience to consider amending the 19th Amendment.
Really?
Now I'm not saying, whoa, women, I'm not saying I don't want you to vote. I'm just saying not for the important stuff.
That's right.
No, but let me hear me out. No. You can still vote. No. There's plenty of there's plenty of things for you to still vote for. America's Got Talent, Dancing with the Stars, the school board, Employee of the Month at Whole Foods. There's plenty for you to still get excited about and vote. I'm just saying for the big stuff, leave it to the less suicidal, empathetic humans, men.
Based. That is the first time. Now, notice now, there will be a trend, but that is the first time to my mind, to my memory, that I've heard this mainstreamed. Because this has been on the fringe. You've heard Myron Gaines talk about this. You've heard Sneeko talk about this. Nick has obviously talked about this.
Yeah.
Repealing the 19th. But he is the first guy on a mainstream platform that is going to be talking about this. And I don't know about you, Gen Z women, and they don't care. We know this. They don't really care. Like, some of them care, a small fringe care, but if you ask the majority of them, like, they don't care about their voting rights. Like, we've all had that conversation, okay? But now, I would imagine that this is the first time that a Gen X audience has heard this and heard that that's weird. We can, well, hold on, maybe that wouldn't be such a bad thing. And then they
all
look
the
at their
all the Gen Xers, all the boomers, they look at
their
wives.
Republican wives, and their wives are like, no.
Yeah, you're not wrong. I mean, because I think, and I notice it with my lovely fiance. That was the one thing that we had, I don't want to say an issue with, but when all the ICE deportation started happening, and you had ICE, detaining children, and I'm talking about the mainstream media blowing up the brutality of it, and the keeping them in cages and the alligator Alcatraz, and trying to justify the immigration process here and deportations and all that stuff. You see the empathy in the women, where very much so, whereas the men realize what needs to happen to get shit done. It's the same men that are looking at Alex Pretty and Renee Good going, what the fuck are you doing? What the fuck are you doing bringing a loaded handgun to a peaceful protest? What the fuck are you doing being horizontal or perpendicular, whatever the fuck, in traffic and speeding off when federal agents tell you not to? Whereas most level-headed, at least in my mind, most level-headed men are sitting here going, listen, the Alex Pretty thing sucked, but also then you saw everything that he had been doing in the previous days leading up to that, and you're like, sorry, dickhead, you were on the wrong fucking team. And you look at Renee Good and you go, sorry, idiot, you didn't stop when federal agents told you to fucking stop. It's the same thing when it comes to illegal immigrants. Sorry, idiots. You guys came here illegally. You broke the law. You gotta go home now.
And you know what it is?
But the empathy side of things is the women are going to look at that and they're going to say, oh, they're just grabbing these people, these foreigners off the street. They're IDing everybody. If you look foreign, they're just going to stop you and ID. And it's like, listen, I'm sorry not to be racist, but it is what it is. And that's what sucks about it is, yeah.
Not to be?
Well, it does sound very racist, but if you're sitting here going, you're in a position where the last administration let in 10 to 20 million illegal immigrants. They don't look white. they don't look black. They're Hispanic. They're Haitian. They're Somalian. They're whatever. So yeah, you may be a citizen here, but unfortunately, because of what the last administration did and what this administration's trying to do to clean up the country and try to get these illegal crime or rule-breaking, law-breaking people out of the country, unfortunately, that's the way things have to be for a little while.
Yeah. Listen, man. It is all about,
and that was just all about. Sorry, not to cut you off.
No.
That was all just brilliant. That was the empathy part. Well, that was the big umbrella of.
Right.
I hear Rob Schneider's point to that. It's the women show more empathy.
Right, and I feel like now that he said it, because somebody had to say it, now that you heard him say it to a mainstream audience, you're going to hear it popularized more. Just the bubble had to pop at some point because people have been calling for this. People our age. People like Myron Gaines have been calling for this shit. But you have to think, feminism is the worst thing to happen in our country. It's worse than immigration. It's worse than murder. Feminism is the worst thing. You essentially cut the balls off of the adult men, starting with the boomers. And now, essentially, you have a society where there hasn't been a backbone, and nobody has said no. That's why when Trump came along in 2015, and he said no, ostensibly, that's what he said, although he didn't actually govern that way. But when he said no, you had this big reaction because you had a female-backed populace that, let's be honest, they don't like hearing no because they haven't heard no for a long time because their significant others, if they are still with a man, are castrated. And they go, yes, dear. And you see them riding in the passenger seat and the wife drives the car and it's like, fuck you, man. The men, it's their fault. They let this whole feminization of the country happen. Women, this is just a natural response.
Right.
It's what it is. The men aren't doing their job.
100%.
They are not doing their job. That's the problem.
100%.
That is the problem. And it's not about sexism. Maybe they view it as sexism, some of it, but like part of it is just literally being a man and sticking up for yourself. And if you see something with your significant other, don't like keep it inside. Say something. Be the leader of your home. Fuck.
Right.
I hate the boomers,
100%.
man. Gen X
100%.
might be worse. They might be worse. It's getting to a point now where we either need them or it's just not going to happen.
It's like you told me earlier today when I was kind of black pilling.
Don't black pill, man. Don't
no,
black
but
pill.
I was earlier today. And that was you brought me back to life, and you were, you just remind me that, eventually people's times fade out, man. And Gen Z is what's on the rise. Our voice is being heard. Things are happening that we would have never expected. People like Nick Fuentes becoming mainstream and these new ideas. Obviously the rise in anti-Semitism and questioning the Jewish
Careful
power.
how you word that, man.
I know. I'm not trying to point the anti-Semitism towards the positive. We should cut that part. I just mean the rise in the questioning of Jewish power.
Yes.
Those
we don't have to cut that. I know what you were saying. I
Correct.
just want you to clarify it to the audience.
Clarification added. The critique of Jewish power in the nation, all of these, new mainstream ideas that are being brought to light because of Gen Z, and the Zoomers are right behind them.
Right. Zoomers are Gen Z.
Or sorry, not Zoomers.
Gen Alpha.
Gen
I know
Alpha.
what you meant.
Yes.
But dude, everybody under 30 on the right and on the left hate Israel.
It's pretty fucking easy to, man.
Yeah, ostensibly for different reasons,
to.
right? On the left, they hate colonizers, but they also hate the fact that they killed almost 100,000 innocent Palestinians and fucking leveled Gaza. And on the right, they hate the fact that, Jewish power. And also on the right, they hate the fact that they killed almost 100,000 Palestinians and leveled Gaza. That is the one uniting principle. The rest of the stuff we don't agree on.
Right.
But we can unite about that one issue.
We are all separated when it comes to the immigration part, but every time Netanyahu touches down in D.C. to talk with the usual suspects, we're all in the AF Post or the breaking or the leading report comment section going to town.
Or Young Turks.
Oh, the Young Turks especially. The Young Turks especially. That's the one thing. I could never stand the Young Turks, Anna Kasparian, and Cenk Uygur. I mean,
I could never understand him, or not understand. I couldn't stand him at all.
Yeah, I mean, they were both. They were in a position where I was just like, you guys need to stop. You guys are making no sense. Blah 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 blah. But now, I mean, man, banger after banger after banger video do they have? Cenk Uygur sits down with Tucker Carlson, and I watched the whole fucking thing. I watched the whole fucking thing, going, God. We need to unite. They need to take their audience, and Tucker needs to take his audience, and Nick needs to take his audience, and everybody who all has the same issue with the Jewish power, with the immigration's secondary, but at this point, it seems like the one conjoining aspect is our criticism towards Israel and Jewish power, and what's going to happen? That might unite the country, man.
Dude, here's the thing. I think there's another converging, uniting point. I think we're both, in opposition to the billionaires.
Oh, 100%.
Which is something that the people on the right never had. They never had a skeptic. They were always, very much in favor of the institutions, in favor of, the hierarchy and the order. But as young people on the right, like ourselves, are seeing, hey, these billionaires are actually really fucking everybody over. They are the ones that are responsible for employing illegal immigrants at the expense of American workers. It's not the immigrant. I mean, the illegal immigrants, let's be honest, if you were illegal, you'd probably try to do the same thing. It's the corporations that are enabling it. That's the problem. And on the left, the corporations are getting away with all of this stuff. They're talking about healthcare, and healthcare affects both the right and the left. Yep. It's just what it is.
Yeah.
And so you see all this, and that's another uniting principle. It is a class thing. I don't like Hassan Piker. I disagree with a lot of his views, but when he talks about the fact that the main struggle in America is a class struggle, I think a lot of that's true. Now, he comes at it from the perspective of communism and socialism. I don't really come at it from the perspective of an ism. I come at it from the perspective of a human being problem. These people are making our society much worse.
Right.
So.
No, I agree with you. I mean, that's like you said, I think there's three things now in total. There's probably three things that are going to, and they're all intertwined. Think of this. We'll leave it with this because this is perfect. There's three things that are going to unite our left and right together. It is the problems that everybody has with pedophilia, like we mentioned previously, billionaires, and Jewish power. Those three things. And think about it. Think about it, Luke. The best part, they're all intertwined.
Yes, they are.
They're all the same, dude. They're all the same. They're all the same.
It's only a matter of time before we hit our boiling point, and we may have already hit it. Now, I don't know. I would rather have this where we unite than a civil war, which they are priming us for. They're taking the road. They just want us to fucking fight. No. Hollywood's trying to prime us for civil war. I disagree. I think it is much more likely that the scenario you point out happens where we unite against our common enemy, which is these powerful forces. And it seems like they have all this power, but the American people do have God on their side. We do.
Agreed.
Whether you like it or not, whether you like to hear that or not, it is true. A majority of Catholics, for example, still vote Democrat, which that is what it is, but we both do have a common faith in God still. It's only a matter of time before we decide that, hey, that's actually true, and we unite. What a message, man. What a show.
This was a great show, actually.
You end it. You sell it or send us off.
This was a great show. Well, man, that's a tall order to send us off for the one person that I know that watches religiously. Appreciate you immensely. This was a great show, Luke. I think I'll leave it with what you just said. Find God. Gosh, in a time like this, where our own government is backing pedophilia, Jews run the society, and billionaires play into both topics that I just said. From the top down, we are chess pieces. We are pawns in their scheme. But like you said, we have God on our side. Find God. Find God. Thanks for watching The Innocent Villains. Subscribe, drop a like, drop a comment.
Follow us on X.
Follow us on X. Shide, or _Shide. Yours is Ascender. ASCNDR.
Yeah, and then it's ASCND and then 3 R's for the
Perfect.
symbol for
Perfect.
the username.
Follow
Thank you
us
so
on
much,
X.
everybody. Thank you so much, Shide, for that wonderful outro.
Absolutely, brother.
Great.
Thanks for having me. This was a great show. I really did. I enjoyed this show. This just rubbed me back in. There's no time for black pilling. Find God. God doesn't want us to black pill. Civilization was meant to be here for a reason. You were meant to be here for a reason. I was meant to be here for a reason. God bless you. God bless our troops.
Goodbye, everybody.